Oh,
Jake
hey, hey, oh,
and Jonathan,
oh,
Jonathan and Luke, Jake and
Jake
Jonathan and Jonathan,
and
Jake,
Jonathan, Jake
and Jonathan,
and
Jonathan,
Jonathan, Jake and Jonathan. Okay, all right. I don't. It seems like we're not yet live on. Hey, everybody.
Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody.
Welcome, welcome
How are ya?
to Jake and Jonathan. And oh yeah, now I see that we're live. And once again, we are live streaming, but also this is a podcast. What is this world?
What is this?
What is happening?
What kind of? So we've got a. Oh, man, we're in Crowdcast and everybody else is in
Yeah.
YouTube. You explain that to
Yeah.
me. Yeah.
Yeah. So right now, Jake, you and me are sort of like in this kind of freaky Twilight Zone. But I wouldn't recommend doing it because it's not going to be great for your internet connection.
Yeah, I have an American.
We are.
I can connect anything.
I do whatever I want. Yeah, so basically we're streaming live on YouTube right now, and also the audio that we're seeing here is the podcast. I can actually see all of the questions and comments coming in, and Callum will relay the important things. But the important thing to know is that for the people listening on audio, it's Jake, it's Luke, and Jonathan here. We're going to be doing a normal podcast, but we will answer questions as they come through. Jake, how are you doing, man?
Oh, it is great here. It's sunny. Let's see if we can get a little pan over to the sunny. It doesn't look sunny, but believe me, it's sunny. It's great. We're starting to have longer days here in Seattle. I'm loving it. I'm so happy. I always forget how happy sunshine makes me.
Oh, yeah.
But really, when you live somewhere where you have a dark, cold, long winter,
yeah,
you can really appreciate the sun in a way I didn't appreciate it when we lived in California.
I have the same feeling. It's amazing. It's unbelievable. Like you can't really see this, but I'm actually sunburned from the last 3 days of sun.
Oh, well, yeah, no, I can't see it.
You can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit red. It's amazing. The weather is unbelievable right now. But I will admit I had a pretty stressful day today. I want to tell you about it. It's pretty funny. So today we launched the Workshopper Playbook.
Yeah.
Yay. Very exciting. And we've never really had a big launch before of something, if you know what I mean. Like we have like a very expensive products. We have we have things that not a lot of people are going to buy in one go impulsively.
Yeah.
The Workshopper Playbook is something different. And we kind of expected that maybe we would crash the site. So like, here was the plan, Jake. I just want to tell you the plan. The plan was we bought 1,500 copies of the book, and we felt like it would take 2 to 3 days to sell those books out. And then we closed that kind of offer, and then we go back. They sold out in 1 hour.
What?
They didn't just sell out in 1 hour, but the whole entire website then crashed for 4 hours.
Wow.
And we were struggling to get things back up. It was crazy. Like before we were testing the site in the morning, and we could see that there was like 500 people refreshing. So while we were still testing the credit card checkout, people were buying. We were like, oh shit, we didn't think the demand would be this high. And so now we had to wait till the printer opened. We've bought an extra 2,000 copies. And right now, as we speak, we've sold 4,000 copies.
Wow, dude, congratulations.
It's awesome. Crazy. That's
super cool. It's
really crazy. Yeah, it's cool, but it was definitely the most stressful day for the team at AJ&Smart. I think we've never. And by the way, this means that hundreds of messages were coming through our 2 Instagram accounts, hundreds of messages through Facebook, hundreds of messages through all support. Like, hey, you promised we were going to get this book. Hey, the website's down. Hey, the credit card's not working. Hey, like, oh my dear God. To everybody watching this and didn't get angry today, thank you so much. Thank you so much. But it's all working again. You can get the book. It's working. Yes.
That's so cool, though. That is so cool. I'm sure you're stressed and tired in the moment, but man, that's a big deal. You write a book and people want to read it. That's crazy. That's fantastic. And that's a lot of people, because people are, I know like technically, I guess the book is free, but people are paying money to get the book because they got to pay the shipping.
Yeah.
So how much does a book cost?
So if you're in most cases, you're going to be paying about $9 for the shipping. So technically $9, but there's also upsells with the book as well. So you can get like the video version of the book. You can get this thing called the Workshop Exercise Encyclopedia. You can get a course called the Confident Facilitator. And of course, you can also get the masterclass. So there's a lot of optional upsells. And this is actually a test for us of the new funnel. And it's working quite well. Apart from the fact that it technically crashed and burned and took us 4 hours to reboot, it is working really, really well. We're super excited. This is the biggest launch we've ever had. It's the biggest project we've ever done at AJ&Smart. And like shout out to the whole AJ&Smart and AJSDX team. Like 24 people worked on this project for like 6 weeks. It was crazy.
Some of whom have never met each other, right? Because you just hired people right before the Armageddon.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's anyway, if you haven't got the book yet, it's workshopper.com/book. There may or may not still be a page when you go there. There might just be a crater.
More hit to it. Workshopper.
.com/book. But
book.
Please, Jake, don't fill anything out because it's already sensitive.
Okay.
It's trembling.
Check out that bar. It's red. Got a red bar.
Is there a red bar on there?
It says stocks are low.
Yeah. I mean, I think it could be. We're basically assuming that right now, because we will have to stop selling them so that we can actually supply them. In the next hour today on April 8th, we will have to stop sales again. So we stopped them this morning when we sold out. But probably it's going to be in the next, maybe during this live stream, you'll see that stocks is low thing and the button changed to sold out again like it did this morning. But Jesus.
We're enjoying all the photos of you on that page. Really good one.
Hey, it's my book. There's got to be photos of me.
One where you're holding the sticky note, your hair is so different. I like that a lot. It's like... It's like the second photo. Like first, there's you still of the video, and then if you scroll down, there's you holding a sticky note. It's just a different look. It's like look. I just think about shampoo. Oh, I tried to close the tab, and it was like, wait.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing.
Clinic in little like doohickeys and things to get your attention. Because Ryan popped up like, hey, do you have a question about the Workshopper Playbook,
yeah,
Ryan?
It does pop up in a while.
Oh man, good stuff. God, good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, okay, so I'm looking at my hair in that photo that you're talking about, and yeah, that picture is from 4 years ago. So that's So yeah, you're right. Interesting. So Jake, what do you think about my hair today?
Oh, wait, I have to switch tabs, and then now it says, wait, don't switch tabs. Okay. Oh, it looks good. Well, how does your hair look so good when you're in quarantine? Did you get?
It's actually, I think it's weird. When it gets sunny and I get sweaty and I rub the sweat from my face into my hair, I actually get this kind of nice volume. So real important question to the YouTube watchers, like on a scale of like 1 to infinite sticks, what sort of hair score are you going to give me? We should keep in mind, by the way, that this is also the normal podcast. So, Jake,
the standards of the usual podcast, professional wise.
Yeah, exactly. It's very we're very rude. So yeah, anyway, Jake, look, let's get down to it. We're in the podcast. I want to tell you that a lot of people have been messaging us over the last few days and last few weeks, thanking us for keeping up the podcast during the quarantine. It's keeping them sane. So, I think we should admit something. And Jake, I think you also feel the same. When we do this podcast, when we're in the moment, we genuinely don't think about the fact that people actually listen to it, right? We're like...
Yeah, I always find that hard to believe, actually.
Yeah. It's really weird. I definitely... I'm doing the podcast now. I know there's 100 people there listening to the live thing. I know a couple of thousand listen to the podcast, but I absolutely have zero feeling for what that's really like, as opposed to if you were actually standing in front of like 10,000 people. So many people listen to this, and I just want to say a massive thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for listening. And you have many choices to try to keep your frayed sanity together during these dark hours. So thanks for giving us a shot at it. We appreciate that. That's very, very nice of you.
Jake, do you have? And this is a deep question now. I mean, this might go a bit too deep. Do you have any topics you want to talk about?
Well, because one question you might ask me is, do I have a refrigerator that works during this time? And the answer would be no. I have a refrigerator that works. Our refrigerator decided to stop working yesterday. We have to get a new refrigerator, and like all of our food. I mean, you know how it is to get food. You're like freaking out about, can we get enough? Get it in the house in time before the roving bands of marauders take it from us. We did. We got food in our house. Now the refrigerator died. We had to throw out a ton of food. Luckily, we were going to be grocery shopping today anyway, so it wasn't as much. But we, so now we got to get a new refrigerator, and the refrigerator we had in our place is like 30 years old, which is pretty old for a refrigerator. So we got a repair guy out yesterday, and he was like, "Yeah, I can fix it, but I don't know how long it's going to work for because it's leaking refrigerant. I don't even know what refrigerant is.
Refrigerant? Is that like refrigerator juice?
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure it is. Only it might be gas. So
that's bad.
Gas leaking.
Juice is not gas. Name of this podcast episode: Juice is not gas.
... Or is it? Yeah, that's the big thing here is gotta replace the refrigerator. Is that the kind of thing that happens in Germany? If your refrigerator breaks, probably can't even break because it's probably made in Germany.
Impossible. Unmöglich. Das ist unmöglich.
Who would be responsible for that? Would it be your landlord?
If you rent from somebody, the landlord will come and change it out for you. They change all of the refrigerator, the cooker, all of that stuff pretty quickly. The cooker, I don't know, what do you call it? The stove or something?
I guess
stove. The cooker. But if you own your own place, then you have to do it yourself, I guess,
Yeah. So yeah. It's one of those things. I guess it would suck actually. I'm trying to work myself up that it sucks more because of the pandemic and the lockdown, but I think it sucks the same amount. Because it's not like, I guess we could have gone into a store and looked at refrigerators.
Yeah.
So maybe that's gonna be
Get a German one. I really like the brand Miele or Bosch. They make some good fridge. We call them fridges, by the way. Come on.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Cooker
is enough. For a cooker and colder. It's enough. Okay, it's enough. I think that we don't need to go further than that. Jake, I'm 2 weeks into having a 16-inch MacBook Pro Silver.
I was listening to our last week's podcast. So it feels to me like you just got it. 2 weeks in. What are you feeling?
I did have a problem. Every time I closed it, it actually restarted fully, and that's something that's happened with.
Did you fix it? Because that started me just now. What'd you do?
Oh, I fixed it. So maybe that's because of the new update. All I did was, first of all, Googled it. Second of all, did what it said. No, the thing I did that worked.
All my searches right now are food hot in refrigerator. Why is?
Yeah. I love how we search Google. It's so not English.
Yeah, because you're like,
laptop not on, restart button question. All I did was shut it down, held the power button for, I think it was 10 seconds, and then I heard this noise, and then it just started working again.
Yeah.
And I heard a scream as well from far away.
From like a
but it's fine now. But how's the? I mean, we have to talk about it. How's the corona situation in the where you guys are at the moment?
Washington State, it appears to be slowing here, thanks to early, like pretty early on lockdown here. So yeah, it's slowing down. They actually, the federal government, so the government of the whole country had like a reserve of respirators. Probably not enough, but they definitely it sent us 500 to our state, and we actually 400 of those to New York because we feel like we're kind of getting on top of things, which is good here.
Yeah.
So it's in our little area. It appears as though it's going well. But Luke, who is if you can't see him and you're listening to the podcast,
We can see him. Oh,
well,
sorry, in the podcast.
Other people, yeah. Luke's 16. He's in high school here, and they've just announced that the governor announced no school the rest of the school year, which I guess we could kind of see coming, but it's
Luke's just like doing a cake. Oh my God, I was listening to last week's episode about me talking about the keg stand and walking down the street with it. That's what Luke's going to be doing from now until. So this school year, does that mean you'll be back in September?
I mean, assuming hopefully.
Okay. That's good though. I mean, they're still debating whether to open up school in Germany from like the 15th of May or not, but like, what's the point in doing it for like half a month?
Yeah, the risk too. I mean,
yeah.
Especially with the sort of invisible transmission. That seems like, high schoolers are just invisibly transmitting it all over the place.
No, I can see the transmission happening. I have that. It's just a brown blob going from mouth to mouth. Straight in there. It's disgusting. All right, well, we take some questions from the YouTube Live.
Virus talk for me.
First of all, Julieta from AJ&Smart says Miele for life. That's the brand of fridges that I think you should go. Really good. Don Giovanni says audio is trash.
Who says
that? Don Giovanni. He said the audio is trash.
Other people, can you confirm or disconfirm Don Giovanni's claim that the audio is trash? If you can even understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You see, this podcast is going to be off the hook now after I drink this coffee.
Yeah, it's really, really good. We also have a question here. I'm trying to find a question. Some of the I want to talk. This is a good one. Wim Hauben says, hey, when the upselling of the book, I found it super, super stressful. I had to make some big decisions and I didn't expect to take them at that moment. Yeah. So I think I'm surprised we didn't get more messages about this today out of like the 4,000 book sales. We build something called sales funnels. And in these sales funnels, what we're trying to do is instead of showing you all the things we have, we show you bit by bit what you have as an option. And you can sort of add them to your cart if you like. And we kind of play around between. It's difficult because we're like a design agency, so we're walking that line between trying to be really elegant, but also having fun and making like this direct sales approach. So yeah, I would agree that it is a stressful checkout process, especially today because we had the low stock and all the craziness, and you probably saw all of our messages that we were about to run out of books, which was true. So I agree with you.
So this person, I can't see the person's name, so I don't mean to.
Wim. I won't say the second name, but Wim. By the way, I appreciate your feedback. I'm not shaming you. It's good. It's good.
Actually, maybe for people who are listening don't care about you, John, which is probably most of the people. But they're interested in design. That's possible. Maybe they're interested in product. How do you trade off? You got to trade off like pressure and salesy stuff and stuff that's like trying to nag at people and get them to buy with a good experience. How do you make those decisions? Because you're more aggressive about sales stuff than many agencies, but you're also more successful than like almost every agency at getting your name out there and converting people. So how do you decide?
So I think, first of all, I was really nervous 2 years ago when we first started selling the masterclass because we were selling it in a more aggressive and straightforward way than we ever sold anything before. I think most agencies, including us back then, are kind of like, here's an email if you want to buy it. Woohoo, that's fine. And then we decided to start learning about like sales funnels, like sales copy tactics, all of this kind of stuff. And I was like, I'm so proud of the products that we make, but it is so difficult to sell things by just doing it the standard, posting on Twitter once, posting on Facebook once, posting on Instagram once. So we decided to look into something called...
That has always been my approach. And like when you put it that way, it seems dumb, but it also seems like
It's not dumb. It keeps your like integrity very high. You know, like people are like, this person has integrity. And I'm like, what if we just try to do it the other way? And I honestly, like, I was super nervous about it. Like I said, we started doing ads for the first time. Most agencies would not do ads because, again, it's like, oh my God, these guys are trying to directly sell to me. And after about a year of unbelievably positive feedback about the actual products, which kind of like what happens is about once per month I'll get a message to my like, or if we have a massive sale like today, maybe I'll get 5 or 6. But out of the thousands of people who buy the course and become obsessed with AJ&Smart and love all the stuff we're making and like become super fans, you always have 1 or 2 people who are like, I hated it. I hated that approach. You guys are scammy. You guys are not even a real company, and all of that. And it used to get to me before.
I don't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to say that, okay, that negative feedback, when you do anything, and you, especially when you're like doing the salesy stuff, will take a person who wants to have integrity, or who just wants, is uncomfortable with it. It's going to take you out of your comfort zone to be salesy. And it's interesting that took even you out of your comfort zone. And then open up to, there are going to be that negative feedback that comes back. And for me, often that stuff like really hurts. Like when somebody says like this was a really aggressive sales, I'm like, oh, like not even.
Oh, my ego.
The idea that I stressed somebody out, like in this example, or like that it was too much, like that it was disrespectful in some way. So how do you steel yourself or decide how to interpret that feedback?
It took me a long time. It took me a really long time to not take it personally. Like 2 years ago when we first launched the masterclass, when I would get a message, I would think about it for the entire weekend and not sleep and think about how to reply to it. There was one guy on Twitter one time who said, you guys are scammy. Like what you're doing, you should be ashamed of yourselves, blah, blah, blah. And I thought about it for a full weekend. Then I sent him a message apologizing and like, I'm really sorry about that. I really didn't intend this, blah, blah, blah. It was actually, you even remember the specific one because I told you, yeah, you wrote it. No, this stupid yellow bar that says this is a replay wasn't on one of the replays.
Right.
Yeah. This guy, like, he was right. That's the problem. So he was right. There was something not very genuine in the thing we did. And I felt so bad about it for 2 days. I gave him a free copy of the masterclass. I asked him, let's jump on a call. He's like our biggest fan of all time right now. And like whenever we go to Amsterdam, he's always the one like, hey, can we meet up and can we chat? So it is, we use the book, The Power of Moments, to overcome. So when someone's angry, we try to like go further. So today, for example, it was crazy today. Out of 5,000 book sales, there was like 2 people directly contacted me to say they didn't like it. And what I do is I personally send a picture back to them saying sorry. And then I'll also send a video explaining like, look, we figured out that this is a way to sell a lot and it works really well for us. And most people don't have a problem with it. Like, like I said, I think the sales page has only been open for like 4 hours total. We've already sold now over 5,000 books. So maybe we're going to be closing it down. But that shows that the tactics work well. But as long as we have loads of free content showing that we, give away a lot of stuff for free, as long as I'm willing to take the hit and then respond in a nice way, I feel good. The main thing I feel good about is that I know when the people actually get the book or the courses, they'll love them. And then they'll forget about how hard I sold to them, or that ad that came up before YouTube that they were annoyed about. And I also know just now from 3 years of running ads, that 1 out of every 1,000 people will complain to me, and that's totally fine, and I accept the complaint, and it's also valid, and they're also right in their way. But because of our sales processes, people who would have never even thought about getting into this industry have been brought through the funnel. The main people who hate us are designers. They're the main people who don't like us.
Designers are difficult. Yeah, that's interesting. That's super interesting. I mean, I like how you find a way to like listen to
Yeah.
to criticisms too. But while it's tough. I guess part of the steeling yourself to criticism and is just getting it a lot and probably getting like feeling the pain a number of times and then sort of getting a callus in that spot that gets pain and then just not associating it so personally. You'll find when you put it on Amazon, you probably like Amazon reviews are like I can't even look at them anymore. Even though they're positive, the negative ones I'm like are just like heartbreaking. And the way Amazon does it, it's like most helpful positive review, and you're like, oh sweet, and then like most helpful negative review, and it's like I don't want to see that right next to the most helpful positive review. Although you can game it. People who are really smart when they first put their book online, you can see this with some books. Just recently I've started to see this. They will clearly get someone who's like a friend of theirs to write a review that's positive. The text of the review is positive, but it's a 3-star review. So it technically.
Oh, that's really good. That's a good idea.
Get people to upvote it. So because the first few reviews will stick, especially if you get like enough people to upvote them, they'll block out everything else.
Yeah.
And then you look at some books and you'll see like the most helpful 5-star review, and they're like, oh well, let's see the critical review, and then it's like 3 stars, like this is a great book,
Yeah.
So you guys.
But I think, Jake, I honestly think like one of the things that doing ads, honestly, it's been ads. Like I don't even know if the AJ&Smart team can tell me how many ads that we record every month and put out. That has made me even more ads, and this podcast has made it even more clear to me that I do things the way I want to. And a lot of people will be turned off by that, but the people who stick around are the people you want as customers anyway. So for example, our podcast, right? Lots of people hate our podcast. Lots and lots of people hate it. And lots of people, there are loads of, not that many, but because they couldn't be bothered writing them. But in the beginning, there was loads of people contacted me saying, hey, your podcast is an embarrassment. Your podcast sucks. It's just rambling. It's blah, blah, blah. I'm like, at the start, I felt like personally attacked by it. But I think,
yeah. Well, sorry, don't keep going.
Sorry.
I'm just saying.
If there wasn't a delay, we would just talk over each other. It would be fine. No, but I don't feel right now. I feel even it's interesting. Like honestly, today's launch will be particularly intense in terms of feedback, which might mean 10 people will message me and say that we did a bad job with the sales funnel. That's like 10 out of 5,000. So it's very little, but still it makes me nervous. Like it makes me like when I'm going to sleep, I'm like, oh God, like that means when I wake up, there'll be 3 messages and a Twitter post about how we are scammers. And that does make me nervous for sure. But at the same time, it's just, I've been through it a few times now. And I know that the people who actually get the book and get the courses and end up being part of the community, they will love it and they won't like feel angry about that time where there was a checkbox which you could add 37 euro to something. They just won't be worrying about that at that time. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where everyone says you shouldn't worry what other people think about you, but we all do.
Yeah.
But I think it is still the best way to go. I think it is good to be opinionated and just be like, who gives a shit what the other people think? As long as you feel like you are doing something not scammy, if you know what I mean.
Totally. And part of what's hard is when you create things, it takes a long time to create them. And then the moment that it encounters other people and you hear about what they think, the criticisms come like after a long time of investment. And then like, there's like this delay, and then you hear about it and you don't have like necessarily more stuff coming out immediately. Right. Yeah. It's one of the cool about the podcast is that it wasn't that much work to make each episode. So we would just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And I hated it at first, but the people who don't hate it, like they just stopped listening, I guess. And then the people who don't hate it, like you eventually found them but
become super fans.
What's that?
They become super fans. The people who don't hate, like if you do something super weird, like the thing is that we're in the design industry. Designers are often serious and like to be treated seriously and like to listen to serious stuff. And we've come out with a just ramble fest full of fart jokes, and a couple of people have stuck around and like it. But I still laugh when I get a message from someone saying, hey, your podcast is such a waste of time. It's so rambly. It was a lot more 2 years ago when people didn't know what to expect. But I'm like, yeah, fine, then don't listen to it. I actually genuinely don't care. Sorry, I just don't care.
I think that what dissuades a lot of people is when you're creating like a product or whatever. I don't know, you're writing a poem or a blog post, whatever.
Poems for me.
Poems for you. You put a lot of heart into it, you create artwork, whatever, you make it. And then if some percentage of what you hear, even if it's like one person is negative, that's just high percentage of what you've heard about everything you've ever made. Whereas if you make a podcast every week, like we're like, well, we didn't invest that much and like, we'll just keep doing it anyway because it's fun and like blah, blah. But like, I do think there's this emotional path. And honestly, it's kind of what happened. My experience with the quarantine is like, it sucks so much at first. It's hard at first, and like it takes a while to kind of like get into the groove and find the way we're going to do the quarantine. And like the making stuff is kind of the same. Like you got to like get past the criticism and get into the groove of like how you deal with the criticism and how you deal with the bad stuff. And I don't know. There's some really smart thing about all this. I just can't pull it together and say it. I don't know what it is. You know what I'm saying?
You touched on something there that I haven't thought of before, which is if you're doing something regularly and people criticize it, it somehow isn't as bad. And I actually think you're right. Like we put out a YouTube video every Tuesday. I would say every fifth YouTube video, some people will say that I'm stupid or mock my clothes or hair or something. Yeah. Occasionally, we actually had this really popular video with Chris Do, this famous designer, and like. I think I don't know, Callum, how many comments that video got in the end, but like thousands of people were saying that I was an idiot because they didn't.
The logo one, right?
They're redesigning the logo one. And the funny thing is, like, the thing that actually made me the angriest, by the way, you should definitely watch this. It's like AJ or Jonathan Courtney redesigns Chris Do's logo or something. It's the crazy thing about it. The thing that annoyed me the most is that people didn't get that me and Chris were in on the joke and that it was a joke. And the thousands of comments were all about how I didn't take design seriously or that my logo was actually bad, even though it wasn't even a logo. It was just me changing the color of the logo to brown and adding legs onto Chris. And I was like, how the fuck do people think this is serious? And after, like, when enough things like that happen, I'm like, okay, there's so many stupid people out there. Why would I bother getting this? Why would I bother using that feedback to decide what I do with my life? And what you're saying is right. Like, that's something that has been regular for me for the last 2 years because of the podcast, because of YouTube. So now I'm not like nervous about bringing out a book or like, of course, some people will think this is a piece of crap as well, And no one will. The book will be 100% all 5-star reviews.
I want to say that I am not over being affected by negative criticism, and like that's a work in progress for me. It's tough. It is tough, but I do think it gets a little bit easier. And doing something with a lot of reps helps a lot. And being able to publish something frequently, it does help a lot. And I do think this podcast has fortified me a lot because we got to the point where we were just like doing it and we don't care. And then when you finally find, and a podcast is nice too because people don't like, they really have to go get it. It's not like it's at them or something, right? So when you do find the people who like it, then it becomes a really good thing. Even if it's a small number. Should we answer some questions? I feel like.
Can I ask Luke a question first?
No. Well,
please let me talk to your son. Luke, how are you getting on with Animal Crossing? I need to know.
Oh, good. Yeah, so actually, I restarted.
What? Why?
Yeah, because so my younger brother was the first person who started playing, so he was the resident representative.
Oh no!
And he didn't
know that beforehand.
He's very chill.
Yeah, he just like wanders around picking flowers, which is great. And that's it. But we need a representative who's going to get things done. So
that's great.
So we started over. We picked a new island, and then I'm already up to. We've made good progress. We're building the houses. Got the bridge. Got the store, museum. But
Are you still enjoying it?
I am, but I feel like I'm playing it less. Like, I'm starting to get a little bored of it.
Yeah.
It was
You
just
have
like,
sorry, Lee, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
no, it was just like, I don't know. I began thinking about it too much in real life, and then it started to freak me out.
That's fine. You're in quarantine. What are you going to do otherwise? Fucking dig holes in your bedroom.
Your life, Luke, but I'm going to. Luke, we moved to Seattle from San Francisco in the summer, so less than a year ago. So Luke's in brand new school, like meeting brand new people. And of course, that's been all shut down and everything. So one of his best friends is in San Francisco from, like his friends from before. And so you and Adam will play. How do you guys set it up? Because you play online all the time.
So you can, we obviously visit each other's islands. And we're best friends, so we can like do stuff on each other's islands. Then we just like FaceTime while we're doing that.
You have like a music stand.
Yeah, or like a tripod. It's not, but so I can like have that there, and then like we can talk, and then like.
That is so cool. I feel like what's annoying about my age is that, so I'm 32, and my friends stopped playing video games like 10 years ago. It's super annoying. I'm like, no, none of my friends play video games. I'm just like sitting there with Animal Crossing, digging holes on my own.
You should. God, how have we not connected Jonathan on the Animal Crossing? I'd sent you an invite, so I don't know.
I accepted the invite, but I haven't seen any messages from your island yet.
I don't know. I'm not in Animal Crossing because I'm afraid I will get more addicted to it. But send you a message. Can't you
just live inside the fridge, guys? I have a good idea for a clickbait title for this episode, but I'm going to need your help. I think it's almost time for just a random what's our favorite product right now. Like, doesn't matter when it came out, but like, what's our favorite product right now? And also in the chat, let us know what is your favorite product right now, digital or physical. Doesn't matter when it came out. All right, Luke, I feel like you should go first.
Probably.
Product Awards 2020. Quarantine Awards. Quarantine Product Awards.
2000 quarantine. It's not.
Quarantine. No.
Do you want to think for a second?
Yeah, I think I need to. I think about it. Yeah, I'll go first.
Best product at the moment would be working refrigerator. That would be You really don't appreciate household appliances until they break.
But you don't have it yet. What's your favorite product right now?
My refrigerator.
Favorite broken.
God, I have enjoyed the Switch a lot. I haven't been playing Animal Crossing, but I've been playing Diablo with a friend. You got to play Diablo. That's a fun one.
Yeah, don't play that.
And that's really a good time. God, that's not the favorite right now. That's my first thought. Favorite is that it's Diablo on the Switch, but I want to think about that for a sec. What's yours? Did you have a thought?
AirPods Pro.
AirPods Pro.
They are seriously. AirPods have been my favorite product for like the last 72 years, but the AirPods Pro. Now that I'm doing Zoom calls all day long, these things. I think they're nuclear powered. They don't need to be charged.
Really?
I think they're nuclear powered. I'm serious.
I do calls all the time with the old ones. I have the Pros too, but I have them up at the desk for.
Yeah.
But anyway, the old ones die like in a heartbeat.
Yeah, they do. These ones, I'm pretty sure, if you drop them, Chernobyl season 2. Like.
That reminds me of what I think mine is right now. Actually, the watch, which I did not love when I first. Yeah, I've had it. I got the Apple Watch when it came out, in whatever year that was. I was like, cool, I got to check this out. I was working in Google Ventures at the time. I better know because I'm sure everything's going watch now. I got it. I just could never get into it. And in fact, I gave it away. I just couldn't get into it. I got one maybe a year ago. So it's not even the newest version, thinking be helpful for tracking runs and then also for silent alarms. So I could wake up without disturbing my wife. And it was good enough at that I started using it. But then over the course of the last year, my wife Holly and also Luke got Apple Watches. And now that we all have them, it's become much more useful because we do like walkie-talkie in the house.
Oh, that's cute.
And I know it's like with this weird schedule of the quarantine days, if I have like a call or something, like I know that I'll get the notification and I don't have to carry the phone around. I'm digging the Apple Watch in a big way. And it's so weird because like it literally took years for me to get into it. But now I'm like, love it.
That's cool. Actually, I keep wanting every year when they bring out a new one. I love their marketing. By the way, Apple marketing is amazing. But every time they bring something out, I'm like, direct sales, Apple marketing. Just in between before we go to you, Luke, I'm just going to shout out a few of the things that people have been saying. Okay, Notion, which is definitely something a lot of people at AJ&Smart have been using. iPad Pro. Wim says Figma. Sorry, the two previous were David Barkley and someone called X. Yasith says Facebook Messenger. Gayanjith, sorry about the names, everybody, but I'm going to try it for comedy anyway. You'll probably find it funny. Gayanjith Primalal loves YouTube. YouTube is an amazing product.
We take this
Notion.
for granted. But that's crazy how the streaming video chat and like watching video works. And think about how much
YouTube is amazing.
It would have sucked in 2003. Would have been the total worst.
Yeah. It's
worst. Like, it would have
total worst. Okay, wait, we got a few more. Lego Boot. I'm not going to say the names. Disney Plus. I agree with you. By the way, The Mandalorian is the best show I've seen in years. It's really.
We gotta watch it now. Okay,
it's amazing. It's the best show I've seen in years.
Last night, and okay, Return to the Jedi. I love the original Star Wars. So New Hope, which in my childhood was just called Star Wars because it was Star Wars. A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi. Right, classic, the original trilogy. Here's the thing. This is the first time we watched them with Flynn, Luke's little brother. His first time watching the movies. He thought they were cool. I think. Yeah. What was your take on watching them again? Because you loved them when you were a kid.
Yeah. I mean, they're great, but there's just so many holes in the, like, how stuff works.
Yeah.
Like, stuff catches fire in space, which is like, that can't
happen.
So
many flames in space shooting so high out into space. Also, I don't think, this is the first time I've seen them in 1080. It is a little, it reveals a little much about what's going on. Like, there's this, at the end of Return of the Jedi, I mean, emotional intensity, right? Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker, the Emperor battling over Luke Skywalker. Darth Vader's helmet clearly covered with fingerprints, just smeary, like,
really?
Doing. And you know that when they filmed it, they're like, don't worry, you'll never be able to see.
You won't see them.
Fingerprints. It's just filthy. And you're like, there's no way. He just like
toilet paper stuck to
it. He was like eating fried chicken in his little dome before he went to the thing. It was just like, oh, let's go. So I find it disconcerting how low quality it was. I've always been like, oh, those effects are so amazing. And they are. But then it is kind of dorky. And like, I love the Ewoks. I dressed up as an Ewok when I was a kid for Halloween. And then you see the Ewoks now, and I'm like, oh man, it just doesn't, I don't know. So I kind of feel like I've been holding new Star Wars movies to too high of a bar. The memory, the original trilogy was so great. And now I'm like, no, they were cheesy. And like some of the stuff is like over the top weird and the stuff doesn't make sense. Yeah. What do I expect? Anyway.
Mandalorian on the other hand is just amazing. Like, I'm not a Star Wars fan at all. I don't care about Star Wars. I actually saw the episode 1, 2, and 3, like Phantom Menace and the other stuff first.
What?
Then, and then just because that.
So for you, Jar Jar Binks is like the pantheon.
Jar Jar Binks is the best thing. That's my product of the year. Jar Jar Binks is my product of the year. That is the title of this episode. All right, Luke, what's your product right now? What's your favorite product right now?
AirPods Pro. I don't even know how you say it, but
AirPods Pros.
Yeah, definitely tempting, and especially I agree. Like when I have school during the day, like it's nice, like they don't burn out on me
because your school's just video chat now.
Yeah, and they're like comfortable. And I like the transparency mode when I'm talking because then it's like. Yeah. Because noise canceling feels weird when you're talking and it's like you can't hear your own voice.
I'll tell you what I like is the sound when you transitions from transparency to other. Like, that's cool.
That's good. I would say that honestly, Legos. have been big lately.
Jonathan will have you know it's Lego bricks.
Lego. Say Lego bricks, okay? Don't say Legos or the team will come after us and beat us.
Just because it's nice.
They have no respect for the quarantine. They'll just break down your door.
They will beat us.
Fun.
So AirPods Pro are your choice as well?
He said Lego.
Oh, sorry.
Were you even paying
It's been
attention?
a long day, Jake. It's been a very long day. All right. Have you guys, and I want you to Google something right now, and I want everyone to Google something, meaning you're going to have to leave the stream. I want you to search for something called Dalgona Coffee. D-A-L. Do you guys know about Dalgona Coffee?
I can't even understand what you're saying.
D-A-L-G-O-N-A Coffee.
Yeah.
Look at how flipping sexy this thing is. Oh, look at Dalgona Coffee, everybody.
What?
Dalgona Coffee. Jar Jar Binks product of the year.
What is it?
Did you search for it yet?
Coffee,
Yeah.
sugar, and hot water.
South Korea. I bet it is amazing.
Yeah,
Coffee.
but look how nice it looks. This kind of fluffy top.
Yeah. Have you been making it?
No, but I just like how it looks. And also search my new favorite thing, souffle pancakes. And there are these Korean channels on YouTube where they make these souffle pancakes. And like, honestly, oh,
Oh, that looks amazing.
Okay.
That does look amazing.
doesn't souffle pancakes look unbelievable?
Where you want to go when the pandemic is over? What's the first place you would like to travel to if you could travel?
Dalgona Coffee.
Dalgona Coffee, wherever it is.
I want to travel into one of those. Mouth first. I don't know. I just honestly, seriously, when this is all over, I'm gonna have a barbecue with my like friends, my family, and drank. I'm gonna get my drink on.
Oh, I just realized that we've been doing this for a long time and we have not answered any questions. Should we?
Oh no. Okay. Here we go. Here's a question.
Apple Watch says I gotta stand up. Sorry guys, gotta stand up, but I'm listening.
Yeah. All right. You know, the thing about questions is I know that Callum's throwing some questions in here, but I only want to answer ones that have some potential comedic value. All right, here we go. I'm going to ask you one.
There's one thing I know about Callum. I'm joking. Callum actually.
All right, Jake, you have to answer this one. Seema B asks, "Hi guys, I'm planning to run a design sprint workshop for a team of 20 people over Zoom. First of all, 20 people in a design sprint. They've never done it and don't know what it is. What are your top suggestions?"
Oh my God, quit. Quit your job.
Please run.
We actually are, you have a remote sprint guide that AJ&Smart published. And, but you have so many people on your team. I don't even know if you have read it yet. John Zarat.
What's a guide?
Making a remote sprint guide of our own with our friend Jackie Colburn. And we interviewed a ton of people and also read the AJ&Smart remote guide. And so, man, I kind of want to say, like, we're going to try to publish it next week. That's probably going to be better than whatever I say off the cuff. Because here's the thing. I've been in like 2 remote sprints. And you guys have run a ton at AJ&Smart, right? And a bunch of people out there have run a ton, but there hasn't been like one go-to guide. So what I think it's going to be like,
we just launched one last week. No.
well, no, because there hasn't been a go-to guide. So now there's the AJ&Smart guide, which is it's like the go-to, like it's a guide for like, this is how we do it at an agency, right? So you can read how AJ&Smart does it, how they've done it over and over again, and like the way they do it. And then the guide we're making is like the greatest hits of like everybody doing it different ways. Because if you're, depending on what's going on in your company, you might not be able to do everything the AJ&Smart way. So you might want to know how you can, I don't know, like you might be not able to use, what do you guys use, Miro or Mural? Like everybody has a different opinion about that.
Miro, Miro is what we use.
Okay, yeah, right. So like a lot of people use Mural.
Yeah.
A lot of people use, you guys use Zoom?
We use it. Well, it depends. So it actually kind of depends on what the client allows us to use. So we'll use Zoom or we'll use Appear In.
Appear In. Okay. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. Okay. Point is, it's complicated, and I'm not even an expert in it. So I'm gonna say, wait till next week. I'll have a link for our guide. But in the meantime, go to the AJ&Smart guide. Get the remote sprint guide.
By the way, they're not competing guides. I'm sure you guys will have an amazing guide too. Just not as good. I want to be fucking joking.
Better than yours will be in a PDF format. That's what I'm thinking.
Yours will be in a scroll format with a guy with a trumpet. Okay, let me ask you another question. Here we go. All right. Can the Mandalorian be considered a product? Lol. Yes. Okay, that's answered already.
Sure. You know what? You know who's the greatest product person of our time? Who do you think it is of our time?
Of our time. So like, what do you mean our time? Just to give, and I'm not trying to be smart. I'm just
one person who has the first step. It's 2 steps. First step, the person who has the greatest influence on the products that they create. And second step, those products reach the largest number of people. People spend the most amount of time with those products. The most intense amount of time. 3 steps. Who has the biggest influence on the things that they make? 2, the reach, how many people are affected by that? And 3, how deeply do people use the thing? I have a philosophy about who this person is.
You say yours first, you silly goose.
What?
You say yours first.
No, because mine's gonna shock you.
Okay.
It's better to answer it your own way.
I think that
I guarantee I don't have the same.
I'd like to say Johnny Ive, but I'm going to say Mark Zuckerberg.
Zuck. You're going Zuck. Okay, Luke. By those categories, who do you say? I think that's a good one. I think the Zuck one is a good one because Facebook has not. They've done a ton of stuff to it, and I don't want to like undersell the work of all the people, but it is the thing that Zuckerberg designed, like iterated on.
There's Luke.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna have to go with the iPhone. So I guess what was that? Was that Steve Jobs? Was that? I don't know.
Well, that's part of the question. Who's the one person? Because we're talking about one person. Who's the one person that's biggest influence? So you'd say Steve Jobs.
Probably Steve Jobs. Because I think a lot of people use the iPhone.
Okay,
People spend a lot of time.
And on computers, you know, big influence on computers. Okay,
and I think it also affects like how other companies.
I thought you meant alive people.
The live people?
No, I thought you meant alive people.
I did, but I'm trying to interpret. You know, he doesn't go to school anymore, so we have to give him.
He doesn't know what to do. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Okay, so Steve Jobs for you. Okay, if you had to do alive people,
if I had to do live people, maybe
Jake Knapp.
You're going to say yourself, aren't you, Jake?
Oh no.
I mean, Google has been big.
Okay, you're out. Okay. Okay, here it is. It's Stephen King. King.
God, okay, tell me why.
Check it out. Okay, he's written like 60 books. The dude writes like 2 books a year. The books are like 1,000 pages each. They are instantly #1 bestsellers. Certainly in the United States. I think like around the world. They're huge books. If you read one of his books, you are 100% in a world that he crafted for like a week of full waking time, like hours and hours and hours.
I thought you meant he crafted it for a week because he writes his book so fast.
Yeah, but that's amazing. That is amazing. So, but he's just one person. Like he controls everything about those stories. It's 100% his world. So if you multiply all the times, the amount of time people spend in those worlds, and the number of those worlds he's created. And like every year also, like people are not just reading the new book he wrote, or the new 2 books he writes each year, but all the ones he wrote back forever. That's crazy. I just think that's so crazy. So that's my answer.
I really like the idea of considering the design of the world building as a designer, but you tricked us there, I think.
I totally tricked you.
You tricked us.
I think everybody like, zoop, what's the product?
You're a sneaky boy.
But
But
that way. Yep.
can we, because the podcast is getting quite long now, can we finish with what books we're reading right now? Just because I feel like it took me so flipping long to find a fiction book that I'm in love with in this quarantine, and I finally found one, and I just want to give it as a recommendation. I want to recommend a fiction and a nonfiction book before we go.
Yeah,
Can I do
cool.
that? All right. So I don't know. I think it was even pre-podcast that I told you that one of my favorite books. Your wife asked for some recommendations, and I recommended a book called Hyperion.
Yeah.
So I read Hyperion 1 and 2, which is sort of like, that's one book. It's called the Hyperion Cantus, and that's basically a complete story. And I absolutely got obsessed with it. I listened to like every podcast there was about it afterwards. I read every article about it afterwards. And I kind of forgot, like, because it was maybe 4 years ago, I kind of forgot why I was so obsessed with it. And I was like, wow, I got really weirdly obsessed with that book. And I knew there was 2 more books after it, but I was like, but those aren't really directly related to the story, so whatever.
I remember you mentioning that.
And sorry, say that at the end?
It wasn't. I just was like, yeah, I remember you mentioning that.
Okay, so but I've been trying to read a ton of books at the moment. They're just not clicking with me, and so I decided, wait a minute, there was that Hyperion thing I was obsessed with. So I started reading the 3rd book, which is called Endymion. And
how do you spell that? Endymion?
Endymion, I think. And honestly,
guy who is not Stephen King. Stephen King's books are called like It.
Poo Poo Man.
And then
Yeah, but they should be called Endymion. But you know what? I love how Dan Simmons, that's the author. I love how this guy writes. It's so compelling and so easy and so fun. I was trying to read another Alistair Reynolds book, but wasn't happening. But so
it's crazy.
Yeah, he's too wild.
House of Suns, and it's good. The writing is really good. But I was just like, and now more things. Like every page, it's like, it's crazy. He's like J.R.R. Tolkien went through like a wormhole into space.
Into J.R.R. Tolkien.
It's like Malkovich when he goes into his own.
Okay, so I'm recommending that. I'm not going to bother with nonfiction. What are you guys reading at the moment?
What are you reading, Luke?
I have been reading a lot of the Dan Brown books, which are good quarantine reads.
Quarantine reads Dan Brown. You know Dan Brown, right?
Of course, yeah. The Da Vinci Code and stuff.
What'd you say?
The Da Vinci Code?
Yeah, like all those, but he has a ton of books.
Yeah, he wrote like 7 or something in that series.
They're all basically the same plot.
It's the same plot, and you like know what's going to happen, but they're still like very good. So it's like guaranteed entertainment. So I guess I'm reading Origin right now. It's like the one in the series.
Oh, so they're actually fun to read.
They're really fun to read. Yeah.
Cool. What are you reading, Jack?
I am at that moment sort of in between books, starting new books. I just finished The Outsider by Stephen King, which is why Stephen King's
good.
And I cannot recommend that book. It was compelling, but it is so nasty.
Oh.
And it is also like the ending is kind of like not, I don't know. I do find this thing with Stephen King. My favorite book of his of all time is The Body. And it's partly because it's short. And it's a really like simple, straightforward plot. Because I do find that I struggle when Stephen King gets into the mode where he's explaining how the supernatural stuff works. Yeah. And it's scary to me. And I just am like, come on. Because that's not his wheelhouse in the way that it is for sci-fi writers. When they explain how things work, you're like, wow, cool. But when he does it, I'm kind of like, oh, really? I don't know. So I can't recommend that one. But I started reading a new, N.K. Jemisin just came out with a new one. She's the author of 5th Season.
What? I didn't know she had a new book.
Yeah, it's not in that series. It's called The City We Became. So I just cracked that one. Just got the hardcover. And I got a signed copy. Holly, my wife, got it from our local bookstore, and came, because we're trying to buy from them instead of Amazon when we can, and they sent it and it was signed, so that was cool. But
that's really cool. I'm looking at the book here. Cool. Yeah. So you don't know if it's good or not.
Anything. Yeah.
You just read the signature, and that's as far as you've gotten.
I didn't even read the whole signature. I was just like N.
N.
God.
Too much.
Right.
It's too much. Oh God. All right. Look, this is enough.
It says, was this? Were people expecting a Q&A?
No. I mean, it doesn't. It's fine.
Okay. I feel bad. We didn't.
Yeah, but it's called the Workshopper Playbook podcast recording plus Q&A. I talked about the Workshopper Playbook. We did a podcast recording. We queued some A's. Done.
Callum is chatting in the thing, and he says yes. He capitalized the E even in yes.
Yeah,
yes.
well, looks like Callum. Sorry, Callie. Come on, you know, Callum, that this podcast never has any content. How did you think we were actually going to answer real questions?
We got better things to do.
I've seriously had enough of. You know what though? The flipping book is going to be going on all night. My phone's going to be going on all night, guys. If you haven't bought the Workshopper Playbook yet, actually, I don't mind if you don't buy it now. I'm fine. I'm over it. I'm over it. I don't want to do the support messages anymore. So if you don't want to buy it, I'm fine with that.
Oh, here's a fun thing. Luke's brother Flynn, my son, has left a note, a little whiteboard. I have this little time timer whiteboard here, and you see what he wrote there.
You need to pee.
You need to pee.
I didn't know they had a time timer whiteboard.
Yeah, they do. It doesn't come saying you need to pee. You have to write that. You have to write that yourself after you get it.
It comes with a colostomy bag as well.
It's right about like 15 to 10 minutes. Like if you set it for an hour, which is pretty accurate. That's about the time when I would need to pee.
I need to pee all the time. Jake, Luke, I love chatting to you guys. Let's jump on a live stream again next week, I guess. It's fun. I mean, you know what? It is kind of fun to that people are listening and they're asking questions. And I did interact with the audience a bit.
I think you did a bit. Yeah.
Yeah, enough.
I don't know. I think this is just like anything else with the podcast. If we keep doing it, we'll build the expectation with people of what it is and what it isn't. Is it take every question and answer it in a responsible manner? No, it is not that. Is it we acknowledge that people are there? Yes. Is it maybe we take a question and then talk about what we want to talk about anyway? Yes. So if that, they'll show up again.
The only thing I want to ask everyone on the live stream is please hit the like button, even if you didn't like it, especially if you didn't like it. It helps the YouTube algorithm push this video. I will say Tony Throbbins. That's what you're asking for. Tony Bobbins, Honey Gloggins, Pony Robbins. And I see one person gave it a thumbs down. Seriously, whoever gave it a thumbs down, never watch this channel again. You're out. You're out of YouTube.
It's Callum.
Okay, you can stay. Yeah, it's Callum, exactly. Okay, you can stay. I've changed my mind. We actually do need one thumbs down, so to make it realistic. All right, let's sing it out, Jake.
Yeah, let's do it. You ready, Luke?
1, 2, 3, 4. Jake and Jonathan.
Jake and Jonathan.
Jake and Jonathan. This is what it sounds like with no music. Jake and Jonathan. Ooh. Jake and Jonathan.
Luke.
Jake and Jonathan. Jake and Jonathan. Oh.